Today we're going to talk about my father. I have two older sisters. I'm the last of three. So maybe my father just felt like he should spend a little extra time with his son. At least 2 or 3 nights a week, we would sit at the kitchen table and he would tell me about his experience as a kid. Yeah, he was from North Carolina. He was born in 1914 and he was a sharecropper. He felt it was very important for me to know where we come from as African Americans. My mother's from the South too. My mother's way of dealing with Jim Crow South was to not talk about it. My father was just the opposite. He shared those stories with me, the way that they had to navigate the world. And he asked me what I thought about things from a young child. So I think that put me in a position to think. He would challenge me to think, sort of in retaliation to what was going on. Because they were sharecroppers, my grandma sent each one of her children, one by one, to the north, to Harlem, the land of opportunity at that time. My father was in the middle of 8 children. He came in 1929. He was like 16 or so. He said that the car that they came up in was a rumble seat. You know, the cars that had the seat in the trunk, he came up in one of those. He would not let being marginalized stop his desire and effort to get things done. Great dresser. Woo! Wow, that guy could dress. He wore a tie every day. He cut the grass with a tie on. People used to ask, is your father a doctor? I said, no, he's not a doctor. Why you ask? He's always got a tie and a nice jacket on a whole bit. Doesn't matter what he's doing. He knew fabrics. He would take me to Delancey Street and Orchard Street when it was time for me to get my Easter clothes or my back to school clothes. He would turn me around and make sure everything was just right, grabbing materials and say, no, that's not a good material. No, we get this one, we get that. I mean, he was really into all of that. And he used to always say, date your suits. When you buy them, put in the lapel, date them. That was one of his things, right? My parents were married in Baltimore as a justice of the peace. They were dressed so cool. And you know, it wasn't a traditional bridal gown and all that kind of stuff. It was great suits. And I said, they looked like Bonnie and Clyde or something like that. He was a chef. He was a trained chef. When he came here, there was a Westchester Culinary Institute that he managed to get himself into. And I remember him telling me that he used to study so hard to get these headaches. And I would say, wow. I remember when I was trying to learn how to write songs and learn how to play piano, just enough piano to write the songs, I would get these headaches. So I could relate to what he was talking about. He came into a place, Episodes. The gangsters used to come. I remember hearing about Dutch Schultz used to come. He used to cook for all those guys. But really, his thing was baking. Pies. Every holiday, people would come by and buy his pies. For as long as I can remember, from this big till he passed away. Every Monday night, he was here at choir rehearsal. I can remember running up and down in here when I was 10, 12 years old, like it was yesterday. He was a trustee. He was the chef, many days. Just a loyal member. People will say, oh, my mother was my best friend, or my father was my best friend. I didn't have it like that. My father was my father. If something was out of line, boom, it was dealt with immediately. And it was to make sure that I was more afraid of them than the police. I never thought of him as being my friend, but I knew I was loved. I knew that. I knew I could come to him. If I came to him the right way, he wouldn't give me the world, but he would show me how to get the world. I think he knew that I had talent before I did. Once he found out that I was good at something, he kind of paved the way without ever pushing. I was in the 4th or 5th grade, and we must have submitted an application to a talent show. We were really under-equipped. The bass drum was a paper bass drum. I had one real snare drum and a big tin can for a floor tom. That was my drum set. And he said, you're gonna be in that talent show with those drums? And I said, yeah, I'm gonna be in it. A week or two later, threw me the keys. We go in the car, open the trunk, brand new drum set. An orange sparkle drum set. The whole thing about school became secondary. It's like, how can I make this work? And then there was a basement. We had a basement that he told me years later. He said, you know, this house wasn't supposed to have a basement in it. And I had to scrounge up, I think it was $100 to put a basement in there. Well, all of that, he allowed me to bring my friends into that space. So this beautiful basement that he built with his hands, that he used to entertain his friends and family in, he allowed us to turn this into this makeshift studio. I can't believe what we did to my parents. We rehearsed till everything bled. I just graduated high school, and I came home one evening, and he met me at the door. And he said, man, this phone is ringing off the hook. This was before voicemail. Now, mind you, we have 6, 7, 8 guys coming into our house all the time playing music. And they would give our phone number to their friends, their girlfriends sometimes. So people would constantly call the house. This particular night, he said, look, you're having fun out there with your girlfriend and all, whatever, but you have a business. I'm 18, I'm playing music. I don't know anything about business. I mean, he was furious with me. He said, don't you see what you have going here? You guys are playing shows, you're doing this, you're doing that, and the phone is ringing. You have to be here to answer those phones, because that's your opportunity. You know, you affect my phone bill, everything goes up when you guys are here. If I wanted to, I could charge you for all of that. That's what's gonna happen to you when you get out in the world. Is you're charged for all of these things that you do. So once again, it changed the way I looked at music. This can't be just willy-nilly, we're just playing in a garage somewhere. This has to have structure. And really through those things, that band became a group that is now world famous, a group called Atlantic Starr. And my father laid the groundwork for all of that. My musical inclination probably came from my father. He used to go to Savoyballroom in Harlem, the Apollo. You know, he lived that life. He was around at the time when Ella Fitzgerald went to the Apollo and became Ella Fitzgerald. Somehow they knew her. As the story goes, they helped her buy her dress. He told me all about that stuff when I was this big. So I think through him telling me these stories, it gave me, like, maybe I could do it too. It was approachable. Cab Calloway lived right up the street from us, and Roy Campanella lived the other way. And we went to school with their kids. And you know, Sidney Poitier's kids were around here, and Ossie Davis and Ruby Dee. All of these kids, we all hung out together. So he was aware of all of I was surrounded by. And that if I used my head, maybe I could, you know, do something in life. I remember I was getting ready to go to Hollywood to try and make it in the business. My mother said it, and my father just backed it up. He said, well, you know, you go out there, why not you? That was all the permission I needed because of the way that he was. He told me that things were possible. It was funny, a lot of times you see parents and siblings, they go to the person that's in the arena, right? He would go away. He would go, no, he would sit in the back. The further back he could go, the better. And I remember making him come backstage once. I said, come on, Dad, come backstage, see how this is. You love music, you taught me how all this stuff works.
My name is Carroll.
He came back there. It was like, you look behind the curtain, don't really want to see it. But he loved it. He loved that I was doing it though. I know he did. I could tell when people would talk about our success with him. If I was standing behind, I could see it on his face. Because I know, this for a fact, he always wanted to work for himself, but just couldn't. And I think that he was most proud that I put together my own thing and it got to worldwide status. I got out of the business now and I began working for the Journal News. I said, hey, Dad, you want to see how newspapers put together? You read them every day. I'll take you into the real printing press. He said, nope, I don't want to go. He did not see me come out of the corporate life and back into music. He didn't. I wish he had seen that. And especially the way that it happened. It happened through technology, which he liked. I reconnected with a songwriting partner of mine from years before. And within less than a year, that same person got to me and said, hey, you interested in being on Hall and Oates? There's a discrepancy as to when his birth date is. At that time, it's either 3rd or the 4th or maybe the 5th of March. I got that call on the 5th of March. I think, something was divine in all of that. I'm hearing now from band members at our advanced ages now, they talk about how cool my father was. They would say that he was encouraging. We could talk about anything with each other. As I look back, he was the man, he was the guy. Without ever saying, I'm gonna do this for you, or you should do that, or you should. It wasn't that at all. I think even though I was in my early 40s and I should have understood more about the value of good parenting, I should have understood more, but I didn't until after he was gone. I was mature enough now to understand all that he had done. For me, for any, just in general, just to be man-to-man kind of thing. I was just getting going. After his passing, I didn't know my place in the family. Now would the family have someone to turn to the way we turn to him? I should be ready to take over, but I can't do half of the things that he can do. And that's when I really started to see he could actually braid my sister's hair and turn around and put a garden together and, fix a car. He's just one of those guys that just could do everything. I couldn't measure up to any of that. I feel his presence all the time. All the time. In a good way. Like right now, I'm wearing these glasses. I said, what would he say? The glasses, he would have said, hey, that's what they're doing now? Because he always was up on fashion. He was a modern guy. So a lot of the lingo he would have taken on, like self-esteem. I remember when he started using self-esteem. I'm like, what do you know about self-esteem? He was 80 years old talking about self-esteem. I'm like, wow, okay. He said, be around people that are encouraging. That was his word, encouragement. He said, that's the key. And that's all he did for me, without ever saying it. My name is Porter, and I'm one of the lucky ones.